Well, it's big news for Mortal Shell today as the Soulslike action RPG comes to Steam and GOG on PC after a year-long exclusivity on the Epic Game Store. On top of that, the game also comes to Steam with some fanfare coming with the Virtuous Cycle DLC, which includes a new shell and weapon, as well as a new game mode. In this video, I want to talk about my hands-on impressions with the Virtuous Cycle so far and kind of give you guys a rough overview of what it is. The Virtuous Cycle is sort of a game mode that operates in a different space than the regular game. It uses the same level design as the game, but what it does is it adds these sort of pillars around the map and chests that give you basically instincts that buff your character. The game plays a little bit like Hades when you're playing Mortal Shell. It's kind of a mashup here where you get one life and you have to run all the way through the game without dying, but as you hit these different pillars and you defeat mini bosses and find chests, you get buffs and you get to select from 3 buffs that appear. So kind of like Hades where you get options when you find one of the gods. In this case, you have like different, like maybe it's an Axetana pillar that you pick up. You get to choose from one of the 3 Axetana buffs, and so you build your character as you go from the best of the things that you find. These are, of course, randomized with their distribution and placing on the map, so they're not the same every time, though they don't seem to have a huge variety of distribution. I'd say maybe each can spawn in about 3 or 4 places from my rough testing so far, so it doesn't quite have the same variety of Hades, but there's so many buffs and stuff that you get the idea how it plays. Just to give you a rough idea, some of these passives that you can gain will reduce the cost of, stamina for dodging or increase the damage you do with certain weapon types, or they'll make it so that you freeze enemies when you dodge or set them on fire when you dodge, or do extra damage when you finish with a heavy attack, and you're sort of going to make your build around what's best for your playstyle and the way you like to play. When you first load into the Virtuous Cycle, you not only get to pick the shell that you want and the weapon that you want, and this includes the new shell and weapon once you've unlocked them, so you can try the run with different shells and different weapons, and, it makes for a different experience than just, like having no shell or only one weapon type. Another thing I want to note is that the enemy clusters seem to have a lot more enemies, and they seem to be a lot bigger groups, and obviously there are different enemies packed in there, so it's not like exactly the same enemy placement as the original game. There are a lot more and different enemies, and it's extremely challenging when you first start out, let me tell you. It could just be that I'm rusty, but man, I was absolutely getting destroyed on my first couple runs. They didn't even last like 5 minutes. I've done somewhere around 8 or 9 runs so far in this game mode, and I gotta say so far, it is a lot of fun. It not only mixes up the gameplay and gives you, something to look forward to a little bit different than just adding a shell and a weapon. Now you get to try out this new game mode and see these different buffs that you've never seen before, and kind of get a little smidgen of Hades in there, which is a fantastic game. I would like to mention though that there were quite a few bugs that I ran into. I had difficulty getting it to work. I had difficulty getting the shell. Sometimes dodge would stop working, and there were a few other minor bugs. So I don't know if they got all the bugs worked out. I am playing, or have played, before the actual release of it, so it's possible to get patched out. Cold Symmetry is very good about this. I am in direct communication with the developers and publisher of the game, so obviously I'm passing on all my bug feedback. So that's not like something I expect to be a problem or anything like that, but there were a few bugs, and that's something I do want to mention. However, one thing that's really, really cool that they're doing is this DLC is actually free for the first 5 days. So if you own Mortal Shell and you haven't played in a while, I suggest getting the DLC and checking it out. It costs you nothing for the next 5 days, so there's really no reason not to do it. I suggest getting it and trying it out, and I think it'll be something like $7 or $8. I can't remember the exact price, but it's right around there after that 5-day period. So even if you miss that window, it's not a lot of money, and I feel like the developers are giving you, great value here, and it's definitely worth a try. I absolutely love the new shell and the new weapon. The Axetana is absolutely outstanding. The damage and stagger power of the weapon are hands down the best out of all the weapons in the game. So it makes you feel a little bit OP, and because you're getting schlafted so hard in this new game mode, it feels nice to have it. And the Hadern shell is actually like kind of the best of all shells. You get to pick one ability from all 4 shells to put into it, so you can kind of make your ultimate shell, which is awesome. And you're going to need it to get through this, so that's pretty cool. Man, I'll tell you, from playing the Virtuous Cycle, I haven't played Mortal Shell in many, many months. As we know, it came out a year ago at this point. I forgot how good this game is. It's such a great game. There's a little bit of jank in it because it's made by, a handful of people. But honestly, it's just so much fun, and, I highly recommend checking out the DLC if you have a minute. We are busy adding all this information to the official wiki of the game, so if you have further questions about it, make sure you head by there and get them answered.